I can feel it. Keep that, let the dough rise. It's a feeling. It's going down like a blowjob. I need a million. Feed the fam and the whole squad. No feelings. I'ma kill them. Let your throat like a bow tie. Huh? I can feel it. Keep that, let the dough rise. It's a feeling. It's going down like a blowjob. I need a million. Feed the fam and the whole squad. No feelings. I'ma kill them.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, then you're tuned in to another episode of Marking Out Amongst Friends. This is the big number, episode 11. This is your boy Jay Riddy. You know who I am. On the show this week, of course, we have my lovely co-host, Miss Lady T, in the building.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing tonight? We doing good?
And also on the line, just because he did such a great job last week in my absence, and I wanted him to be back on the show. Welcome to the show, Mr. VIP.
Thank you. How are everybody doing out there?
Good, man. It's a great show. It's always good to speak with Toya every week and do the show with Toya every week, but it's really special to have Mr. VIP on the show this week. For those of you guys who don't know, we pretty much all grew up together. We pretty much all like family. So this is just like a normal discussion to us, so to speak. But there's a lot of insight. It's a wealth of knowledge, if you will, between the three of us. A lot of history. I think you guys may have heard us talk about, Toya and I talk about an epic event that happened almost a decade ago with SmackDown, where we got to meet MVP and R-Truth. And there were a lot of things that we couldn't tell in that story just because, we can't really say some of that stuff on the air. But Mr. VIP was also with us that night. So, like I said, we've been rocking together for a long time. It's good to have you guys on the show, man. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
No problem. So we got a couple of things on the agenda tonight. We're going to talk about All In, and I'm going to fill you guys in. If you guys are not familiar with what All In is, I'm going to fill you in on pretty much what the history of that is, where it spawned from, and why it's important. Usually we talk about a lot of WWE on this show. We don't spend a whole lot of time talking about Ring of Honor, talking about the Indies, talking about the New Japan. But this is a very significant event, and I wanted to give a lot of spotlight on. So what am I talking about when I say All In? All In is a wrestling show that's put together by the members of the Bullet Club, the Young Bucks, and Cody Rhodes. All right, this show is going to take place on September the 1st, 2018 in Chicago at the Sears Center. Now, you might ask yourself, why am I talking about this? One of the biggest, most important things about this is a self-funded event, first and foremost. So this is not a Ring of Honor event. This is not a Impact, whatever they're called. This is not a New Japan event. This is strictly an indie show that's self-funded by the Young Bucks and Cody Rhodes, presented by the Bullet Club. So this is important. This is when I was looking into this, and one of the things that caught my eye is that this is going to be the first show in the USA that is non-WWE that sold 10,000 tickets for an arena. So the first time that a non-WWE event has sold tickets since, I believe, 2001, when WCW did it, or when WCW went out of business. This is also the only non-WCW or WWE event to sell 10,000 tickets since 1993. So pretty much since 1993, out of all of the other companies that we got, the TNAs, the Ring of Honors, nobody has sold 10,000 tickets for a single event outside of WWE or WCW since 1993. So that is major. Not only is that major, but they did it in less than 30 minutes. They sold this show out in less than 30 minutes. Buy or sell, is this a major accomplishment? Or what do you guys think about that?
Personally, I feel that this is an epic event. I mean, to have a show in the first place sell out in 30 minutes is ridiculous in itself. I mean, I don't even know that many major pop stars who sell out arenas that quickly. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, of course they're known to sell out arenas, but not within 30 minutes of them releasing tickets. That's just ridiculous, period. And not to mention the fact that since you said it was 1993 that someplace outside of WWE has sold 10,000 tickets, I don't think that WWE has even sold 10,000 tickets in 30 minutes or sell out an event in 30 minutes ever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we might have to get Chris to fact check that one, but I can agree as a prisoner in the moment right now. I can definitely agree with that one.
I'm not sure if that is like accurate, if they have done that in 30 minutes, but still, that is incredible. Regardless of who you are, that's still incredible. So props to the Young Bucks, even though I can't stand the Super Kick Party, but props to the Young Bucks and Cody and the whole Bullet Club for this accomplishment.
Yeah, I think it's a major accomplishment. It's showing what hard work, determination, what you can do with it, especially when you really don't even know what the card is. I mean, they basically say we're going to do a show, but we really don't even know who all is going to be there, what the matches are, maybe a couple of them. So, and then we don't have any truly major names that are actually wrestling right now. So for them to do that, and like you said, since WCW, that's a long time ago. I mean, even when TNA was at its, apex, and when everybody was really into it, it still didn't sell that many tickets that fast. So it's going to be great to see another company or just three guys able to do something outside of WWE and see what they can do and show that other people can do this, and maybe start a groundswell of some other independent people coming together, making a little more competition, which will only make wrestling for everybody better.
No doubt. I definitely agree with what both of you guys are saying. For a person who's not really a huge fan of the Young Bucks, I wasn't really the biggest Cody Rhodes fan. I liked Cody Rhodes, but I wasn't like his biggest fan.
So none of us are Young Bucks fans.
Not really. Not really. I mean, the Young Bucks are one of those teams that I don't really like, but I respect them because they're probably the most, well, not even probably, I don't think that there's anybody even close to being as well known of a team as they are outside of WWE. I'm willing to bet on that almost. I can't think of anybody else that's as major of a tag team or as big of a draw or big of a name of a tag team that's not in WWE right now. Of course, before they came to WWE, I always was very huge on Red Dragon, which we know them as the Undisputed Era right now, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. But, you don't see a lot of guys that draw like the Bullet Club draw us outside of WWE. Now, just to kind of knock it back down a peg, I'm not going to shit on them or dump on them a little bit. But, there are a couple of things to point out. Now, even though the show is in Chicago, this is at the Sears Center, Chicago. So Sears Center, Chicago only sits 10,000 people. Exactly. Like, you can't oversell 10,000. It's like once you hit 10,000, it's done. It's not to be confused with the larger United Center where the Chicago Bulls play and a lot of the major professional Chicago sports teams play, which those seats usually sit at or around 20,000, give or take more, give or take less. If they could have gotten this event somewhere like the United Center, do you think that being that they sold out 10,000 seats in less than 30 minutes, that they could have sold out 20,000?
I don't know. I think right now that they're trying to, considerably trying to start small to them. I don't think they wanted to risk getting such a big arena with them having to pay for it with their own money, and then, something happening and they can't fill it up. And then they, because they're going to have to pay for the arena. They got to pay for all the stuff that goes into that. Then they got to pay the wrestlers that actually come. So I think the way they started right now is a good start. Now, if this goes well, they'll probably do it again. Then they'll probably try for maybe a bigger arena, maybe 15. But right now, I think starting off with 10 is a good, even number that they can start off with, see how well they can do, and then discuss after that what they can do in the future.
Okay, Lady T, what you got to say on that? Okay, so
I was experiencing a little mom moment. For those of you who don't know me, I am a mom, so I have to make sure that them taken care of first. Anyway, back to the All In. Well, I think I can agree exactly what Mr. VIP has said right there. It's a smart move just to go with something that you could handle, especially for your first time. 10,000 seats is still a big accomplishment regardless. So they didn't want to overextend themselves to something they possibly could not live up to and then make themselves feel embarrassed, because there's so much more that has to go into it. And like he said, you have to think about, you have to pay the wrestlers to show up. You have to pay the talent. You have to pay the production people. You have to pay the workers. You got to get everybody that you need there, the people to even set up the rings, set up interest musics and things like that. You got to make sure that you've got them covered as well. So I think that this venue is a great jump off for a show that you're planning on doing by yourself. I also think that if this goes well, like you said, just continue to build to higher and higher levels. And next thing you know, this All In, this once in a lifetime thing could be incredibly huge. And maybe they might come to the home of wrestling, which is North Carolina. I mean, come on now. Look at who we got from here. Cody himself. So why not?
For real, I can definitely concur with both of you guys. Just to kind of paint a picture of what 10,000 seats is. Now, 10,000 is not the biggest arena, like we know. WWE, but just in comparison, WWE's house shows and their live weekly shows, on average, I think from what I've seen, pull between 5,000 and 7,000 on their weekly episodes. So it's definitely something worth talking about. Now, this isn't a weekly show. This is a special. I don't know. Everybody here on the show is from North Carolina or in North Carolina. So we all know that one of the biggest things that happen in North Carolina every year is WrestleCade. So this event would be more so comparable to something like WrestleCade, because not only is there's only one match. There's another thing that's really big about this. There's only one match that's been announced so far for this whole event, and it's still sold out in less than 30 minutes. The only match that we have on the event right now on the card is going to be NWA champion Nick Aldis versus Cody Rhodes for the NWA championship. Little known fact, if Cody Rhodes was to win this match, Cody Rhodes would then be the only would make Cody Rhodes and Dusty Rhodes the only father-son combo that have both won the NWA championship. But other than the match that's been announced, I mean, there are going to be people there that are going to be doing signings. There are going to be a lot of big names. So far, some of the big names, just to name a few, we got Jay Lethal that's going to be there. We got the villain Marty Scurll that's going to be there. We got Jeff Jarrett that's going to be there. Bruce Pritchard, Macaulay Culkin, Rey Mysterio, Okada from Japan, probably one of, if not the biggest star in Japan right now, probably one of the biggest stars in Japanese wrestling history, in Okada. And of course, Tessa Blanchard and CM Punk is actually going to be at this event. That's right. You are not hearing me wrong. CM Punk is going to be at a wrestling-related event. and he's going to be there. Of course, I mean, it's in Chicago, so it's only right. But buy or sell, do you think that CM Punk will be in a wrestling role or will play part of a wrestling role at this event?
If he does, it may just be for him to like run out and do the go to sleep on somebody. I don't think he's gonna actually be in a match since he's getting ready for his UFC fight. And I think one of the big selling points for this All In was the fact that there was a possibility that he was going to be there. And I think that was really, they did it in Chicago, and just the possibility that CM Punk could be there could be why it sold so fast. Like I said, I don't know if he's going to actually wrestle, or he may come out there, cut a promo and maybe do the go to sleep on somebody. But in an actual match, I don't think he will.
Now, I actually disagree because All In takes place in September. CM Punk's fight is actually in June. This is actually right around the corner. If you're listening to us live right now, today is the 24th of May. So it's only in a couple of weeks where he will actually take to the UFC octagon. So there's a very, very real possibility that I feel that CM Punk is going to be in this match. I mean, might as well ride the high. Hopefully he doesn't take a big L in like 30 seconds or however long it took him to lose to Mickey Gall. But hopefully he can just ride that wave, and maybe this could be the start of him possibly getting back into training mode to possibly make another return somewhere, if not WWE, then possibly somewhere else. So that's my take on it.
Bingo. That's the exact same thing that I was thinking. Excuse me. CM Punk's fight in UFC is in June, which we'll talk about CM Punk's fight later on in the show. This event is going to take place 3 months after his fight. So, his conditioning is probably going to already be there because he's going to be training, for another fight. He may not be the same weight or the same size as we remember him being in the WWE, but, the conditioning. Oh, you mean
skinny fat?
CM Punk was actually he was a little stocky in WWE, not compared to most guys that we see that are big and bulky and muscle bound. But CM Punk was definitely he's definitely one of those guys that he's not used to being at that WWE size weight. He looks like he probably walks around at about 170, 165. On a normal basis, and he just looked a little heavy when he was in WWE. But I mean, his conditioning is already going to be there. He's already going to get a payday. Why not make the payday even better by doing an in-ring event? I don't see any problem with it. It would, honestly, I would think more so it would just fall on Dana Brooke. Not Dana Brooke. Oh my goodness, Dana White. Dana White.
I was about to say, what does she got to do with this?
Well, CM Punk does have a past. She might have made the list. I ain't talking about Jericho.
He did run through him, so.
Mm-hmm. I think that between CM Punk and Edge, they might have ran through like half of the roster back in the day by themselves. But another thing that I want to talk about on All In, I was bringing up the attendance on a lot of WWE events. So here's some other things that I took note of, and I took some time to look over. Between 2008 and 2016, so that's an 8-year span, Chicago has had 14 WWE shows in that span. Now, we're not talking about 2017 or 18, so any smarks out there that want to, challenge my information, we were just here the other day. This is between 2008 and 2016. Chicago had 14 shows in that time frame from WWE, and this is just weekly and house shows, so Raw, SmackDown, and the house shows for both of those shows. So out of those 14 shows, they had 6 sellouts. 10 out of those 14 shows, or they put up at least 10,000 on those weekly shows. So this is not to, once again, dump on All In, but this is just to let you know how significant this is for them to be even in the same class with someone like WWE. Now, there have been a lot of shows with WWE that didn't do as much, but WWE tends to do a lot of big numbers, and this is also in a big area as well. So once again, just to bring out where we're from, a lot of people, if you don't know, once again, we're from North Carolina. So two of the cities that we are familiar with, I also wanted to throw out there, have also done 10,000 as well, including Greensboro actually did an attendance of 10,000 back in 2016 for a Raw. Raleigh also did 11,000 for a Raw back in 2011. Just a couple of numbers that I'm throwing out there. Chris, I promise you I'm not trying to take your job. I really looked into a lot of this stuff just to kind of compare the two. So with that being said, to go back to an earlier question that I asked, if we were to say 2019, they do All In again next September, and this becomes like a major event. If they move it to the United Center, I think that they could actually sell out the whole 20,000. However, I think that people would have to know a long time in advance of who's going to be there, and they're going to have to get some names that are on par with CM Punk to really draw some attention to the event. So I think that they probably could do 20,000. I don't think they'll sell it in 30 minutes like they did for the the 10,000 seat show here. But I think that they can definitely do it.
Well, considering that it's in Chicago, Chicago is a city that's got a ton of things going on. I mean, you've got 2 different baseball teams. You've got basketball. I mean, you've got hockey. You've got a ton of major sports there in Chicago. So if, granted, this is actually successful and everything, I don't see them really having a problem because of the area in which they're choosing, that they couldn't get some other great legends to come there or active major superstars to come there. And next year could probably be, if they decide to do it again, we're speaking in that language. If they decide to do it again next year, it really could be a turning point and have a great special like our WrestleCade.
Yeah, like you said, I think if they do well, I think they may try to go for a bigger event. But like I said, it has to have a big name. You know, I think the whole, like I said before, I think the basis is that everybody, they have pretty much had kind of said that they were going to try to get CM Punk before they even started. And everybody was kind of thinking, well, if we do go to this All In, CM Punk's going to be there. And the possibility of just him being there or wrestling or anything, I think that's the main driving force that brought a lot of people out. Because, I mean, even with the main event, I mean, everybody knows Cody, the NWA champion. You know, not as many people know him, and he's not as big as some of the other stars. And I just think that with CM Punk being there, even if they did another one where like CM Punk came out and maybe attacked somebody or somebody tried to attack him, and then like the next year, you know, that they actually have a match with him, or the possibility that the next year could see him actually in the ring would bring 20,000 just to be able to see him one last time or one more time.
Yeah, for sure. I think CM Punk is definitely one of the major reasons why this show sold 10,000. Just to kind of put a little more implication on there, all of this really started just from a conversation or a question that a fan asked Dave Meltzer last year. I'm not a huge fan of Meltzer, by the way, but a fan asked Dave Meltzer if Ring of Honor could sell 10,000 tickets, and he said, I don't think they could sell 10,000 tickets anytime soon, and so forth. And I think that Cody Rhodes kind of took offense to that and thought that they could go ahead and put through a show. So this originally started out, it was supposed to be a Ring of Honor event, and then it ended up being, for some reason or another, a self-funded event with just Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks, rather than being a full-on Ring of Honor event. So Go ahead.
I think I'd heard it, like you said, it was Ring of Honor, but I think they didn't want to take the chance of trying to do such a big event that they wouldn't be able to fill or wouldn't be able to pay for. And with them not having as big of talent as we've known them from having, most of their talent is in the WWE now, so they don't have like a huge name that everybody has been on the internet watching. Besides their New Japan contract, the people that they bring over, more people know about them than really the people that's actually in Ring of Honor. So I think they just didn't want to chance it, and I don't think they even thought that they would be able to do it.
Mm-hmm. So I would, once again, I definitely agree on that one. I had another interesting thought just then. So what do you think the reaction is? Because I think this is going to happen. But what do you think the reaction is if you see a WWE superstar show up at this event?
One that's contracted or not contracted?
Contracted. So say we're if you're live, or I don't know if this is going to be a televised event. More than likely it's going to be a televised event. But the camera pans somewhere and say you see somebody. Say somebody from NXT, say you see Ricochet in the crowd, do you think this affects their push?
Please don't say him.
But I mean, the WWE has changed a lot in the past 2 or 3 years. So, I mean, you got guys, like the Bruiserweight that's going around and competing at a lot of different companies and a lot of different shows right now, representing the WWE as their United Kingdom champion.
I think he has I think some of the UK people have like a different contract than like the NXT people. Because like they still are, like you said, going around to other shows because they're not officially with the WWE all the time, I guess, until they, start up their UK division. Let me ask you, is the show going to be televised?
That I'm not quite sure. Chris, can you run a fact check on that one to see if this is going to be a nationally syndicated event or is it just going to be a live show?
Because if it's televised, then I'll say, please, if one of them show up and they show them on TV, they're going to get fired. Maybe like like I said, the UK, maybe not, but if they show any of them like they did with, I think it was Robbie in TNA when he was in the crowd and they showed him actually on TV, that got him fired. So if they're on if it's on TV, then yeah, they can be in a lot of trouble. If it's not on TV, then yeah, there'll probably be some of them there, or they may be covered up so you can't tell who they are, or they may come in the back or something. But there's going to be some there, but not where you can see them, unless it's somebody like Jim Ross or something not Jim Ross, but Jim Ross or Jerry King Lawler, one of them who, they can do stuff for the WWE and still go and do other shows like Booker T or somebody. But a current talent, I wouldn't do it if I was them, if they want to keep their contract, unless they're somebody that's unhappy.
Facts. I'm on the fence with this one. Like I said, I don't know. Depending on who the talent is and what the show is, what show that they take part of. Of course, Roman Reigns can't show up in the crowd at this show. I mean, it just looks bad on the company for anybody who's quote unquote, one of the faces of the company to show up. But I think that, if this is somebody that like Triple H knows their relationship with, guys like Cody, which I don't think that Cody and the WWE are on bad terms, so to speak. I think that from my understanding, Cody could come back anytime he wants to.
Okay, I got a question. What if Goldust or Dustin showed up?
Is it really a big difference whether Goldust is fired or whether he stays? I mean, just to be honest, I mean, is it a big difference? Like, is he on TV?
Wow.
Is he on TV every week? Regardless. I mean, you know, what are they gonna tell him? He can't do WWE's main event anymore. Like, come on, man. You gotta give me something better than that.
You have a match a couple months ago with Cena, somebody big.
Maybe in WWE 2K18 in Universe mode. I don't think he's had a big match in years. And I mean, of course, that's his brother. So I mean, you know, family comes first. If he wanted to go, if I'm Vince, I don't care if Goldust goes to this event or not. Like I said, the big names can't show up. I can't have Roman Reigns there. You know, I can't have John Cena at this event. The only ones that wouldn't shock me, but would worry me, the first two names that came to mind were Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. I
thought of somebody.
Yeah, those are the guys that we know that love a lot of the guys. All these indie guys are like their compadres. They still hang out from time to time. Of course, your Apollo Cruisers too. They still hang out with these guys as well. But you know, if Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, these are two major names on Raw right now, or at this show, do you think they get punished?
Yes, definitely.
There would be some repercussions, in my opinion, as well. I mean, just because of the fact that they're being showed, and since Kevin just signed his brand new 5-year contract with WWE, that might be a stipulation of the contract. So we shall see. But I do think that there would be serious repercussions.
They're two major names right now. And yeah, if they showed up, I mean, like you said, there's a lot of people that are friends with, you know, everybody back there. So, I mean, that'd be like Finn Balor, you know, all of them. Yeah, they would love to show up. They may come in the back, but if they showed up and people saw them there, yeah, like Kevin Owens and them, yeah, that would be very bad. I thought about another person with everything going on with him. What if Neville showed up?
I think at this point in time, if September rolls around and Neville isn't back on television, I can pretty much think that they're going to go ahead and sever ties with Neville. I think this has been going on quite some time with Neville right now. Have we hit the 6-month mark on that? With Neville not being on TV?
I know it's been a while.
It's been quite some time. That one when I would be up in the air. I know he's a great talent. I think everybody knows WWE is, you know, trying their best to keep Neville, but you know, for him to not have been back on television at this point in time worries me, so to speak. Maybe it's in terms of money. Go ahead.
I was going to say, especially with them not bringing him back for WrestleMania or the greatest Royal Rumble or anything like that, or like the night after WrestleMania. Yeah, it could be. I don't know. I think they're trying to offer him stuff. I just think he wants to leave. I just think he's not happy, period. And they don't want to let him go. And he doesn't want to continue on with them. So, but it's been a long time, and there's some big shows that he's not came out to, had anything to do with. Even in the UK, when they had their UK tour, and they didn't have him on that either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the one that tripped me out. So I'm like, you know, I can understand, you know, maybe things were not the best. They weren't on the best terms during the first two big pay-per-views this year in Royal Rumble and in WrestleMania. But, you know, like you said, the greatest Royal Rumble ever and the European tour were kind of, it made me throw up a red flag at that because he didn't show up at either one of those events. So, like, you have
Babatunde.
Excuse me?
Babatunde showed up and Neville didn't for the greatest Royal Rumble.
I don't even think that Vince realized that Babatunde is still on the roster right now.
I don't even think he ever knew he existed.
I think that he thought he was one of the local talents that they were bringing in, and Triple H had to pull him to the side. Like, no, Vince, he's actually with us. He's on NXT. But no, I think that with there being only 2 of the big 4 left in the year, if you don't see Neville come back by SummerSlam, I think it's pretty much a done deal that you probably won't see him come back. I could be wrong. You know, as JR used to say back in the day, anything could happen in the World Wrestling Entertainment. So, I mean, you know, anything could happen at that point in time. But moving right along, speaking of CM Punk, we mentioned earlier today that CM Punk has an upcoming fight. This is going to be CM Punk's second match in UFC since his debut. He is 0-1 currently. He's set to fight Mike the Truth Jackson, who is also 0-1. This is going to be June 9th, UFC 225. Both of these fighters have a lot of common coming into this bout. So both fighters are in their second career fight. Both of them are 0-1. Both of them have their only loss to Mickey Gall. Mickey Gall. So he's defeated both of them. Not only did Mickey Gall defeat both of them in their first matches, he also beat both of them in the first round of both matches. So a lot of things being shared in common here. The obvious question here, who do you guys got? Are you rooting for CM Punk in this one, or do you think that CM Punk is going to leave this bout 0-2?
Well, me. Oh, I'll let you go ahead.
Go on.
Okay. Well, for me on this one, if he has any thoughts about trying to keep a reputation in UFC, Punk has to win. He has to go out here. However, me being a Punk wrestling fan, it's going to be a big fat no for me. I think he's going to go 0-2. Just because of the fact that I don't think that he should be doing this UFC thing. And I think that he should come back.
Okay. For me, I think that CM Punk is going to end up getting the win here. This is going to go to my next question kind of for this one. When CM Punk got to UFC, it was a major announcement. It was kind of like it shocked the wrestling world. It shocked the Ultimate Fighting world. But I don't really know. Yeah, I don't know if CM Punk is legit. This is a sport where you've seen a lot of guys where they were WWE guys that have moved on to the UFC and vice versa. You know, you got guys like Alberto Del Rio, who was a UFC fighter or MMA fighter, and then he turned into wrestling, and he actually did both. You got Bobby Lashley, of course, he started in the WWE and branched over. Brock Lesnar, of all names, of course, we're going to mention Brock. He started in WWE and went over. Batista started in WWE and went over to MMA, and now even Jack Swagger went to Bellator. So it's a move that you see a lot of guys doing. The difference between those guys, however, are you're talking about perennial heavyweights. With the other guys, CM Punk is a welterweight. You don't really see a lot of guys go from wrestling to UFC in the welterweight division. And CM Punk had very little to no martial arts training experience before joining the UFC. So I don't know how legit that I expect CM Punk to be, but I think that being that he's going to get somebody else who's kind of just starting their UFC career as well, I don't see him losing this match or this fight. But you know, at some point, it's like, man, the guy's almost 40. And he's just now learning, martial arts. He can't go in there and outpower anybody or out wrestle a lot of guys. He's going to go in there, if he tries to out wrestle some guys, he go in there against somebody who's really, savvy in the Brazilian jiu-jitsu game as well. He's going to get tapped or he's going to get ground and pounded. I don't know. Mr. VIP, what do you think about this bout? How do you think this is going to go?
I think, like I said, for his reputation, with all the fanfare that came with the first one, and especially for his wrestling fans, I think he has to win. If he loses both of them, I think, that's pretty much going to be it for his UFC career. And it could hurt. It may be able to hurt his wrestling if he ever came back, just to, say you're supposed to be all tough and everything, and you went there and got beat twice. And the second time you got beat by somebody who, they had 0-1. So they had lost their first match too. So I think he has to be legit. Even if he wins this, and okay, that's it. At least I won a match in UFC. But if he loses twice, I mean, nobody's going to want to see him come back for a third match if he loses this one. So his whole, the money making that he would make for just being on the card, if he loses this one, he no longer is valid. Nobody would care to see him again because they're just going to say, oh, he's just going to get beat again. So I'm hoping that he wins. Or if he came down to, it went the whole match and, like the judges went against him, but he put on a good match, then at least he would still look strong. But if he loses in the first round, then he's done.
And speaking of, if he loses in the first round and he's done, a lot of things are going to come down to the scorecards on that. If it goes the distance, that means. So if he is able to go the distance, it will at least give a little bit more legitimacy to hey, it was up to the judges, it wasn't up to me. So you could have that as a fallback. If he does successfully lose, unanimously lose in the first round again, that would really, really, really damage his brand. I mean, yeah, he had studied Muay Thai before he even came to WWE. So it's not like he's unfamiliar with it. I just think that the name alone, when he fought Mickey Gall, just the CM Punk name alone, probably the guy wasn't a WWE fan, so he was just I got your pipe bomb right here. So that's why he was able to take him out in the first round. So we'll just have to see how it goes.
And I think a lot of times with it'll hurt wrestling because a lot of times when a WWE or a pro wrestler goes to UFC or MMA, the whole perception is that this is fake. They can't really fight. They're not real athletes. So if they go there and then lose, then they're see, I told you, how they've had matches like Bobby Lashley. I think it was Bobby Lashley where the guy came out wearing a Rey Mysterio mask, making fun of him, and then Bobby beat him. So if if anybody who don't respect wrestling, don't respect pro wrestling, he goes there and loses twice, then it's basically yeah, see, I told y'all, look, these are not real athletes. They're weak. All this stuff, and that hurts pro wrestlers when we still, even though we had Brock do well and Bobby Lashley's doing well, but, anytime that they can get somebody to go there, and if he loses 2 matches, then it's pro wrestlers are weak. They can't really fight, and look what I did to them.
But we're also talking about CM Punk, somebody who's been out of wrestling for several years. So you can't, I don't think that is really valid on, like, for everybody, but just for the fact that it's CM Punk, and you know how much of a shit talker he was, so that's why it may not be the same as saying it was all wrestling.
Well, see, the only thing is CM Punk is his wrestling name. So he's not going as Phil Brooks. He's still going by his wrestling name. So he's still portraying the pro wrestler. You know, if he came out there and said he's going to go by his real name, then maybe like, okay, no matter how long he's been out, but people still know him. The only reason he's a draw is because of the pro wrestling and him coming out as CM Punk. And if he does like he did the first time, come out to his wrestling theme, it still portrays him as a wrestler going to MMA or UFC. And like I said, you know, sometimes MMA fighters don't respect WWE or pro wrestlers, so they say it's not real, it's fake. They're not real athletes, they're not really tough, they're just acting.
And I that's definitely factual there. I definitely agree. So we kind of danced around the subject a little bit. Is this a must-win fight for CM Punk?
Yes.
And why do you guys think it's must-win? So, you know, we danced around a little bit earlier. You know, you guys said, you know, it'll kind of make him look tough if he goes the distance and loses, or, you know, if he at least puts up a fight. But, you know, in the end of the day, why do you feel like this is a must-win? Like, he can't do anything but win in this match?
Well, when he first came in, you know, everybody was talking about him. They even did like a little special behind the scenes showing him training and showing AJ Lee saying she's nervous about it, and did this whole special showing him getting ready for the fight. Now, you know, this isn't like normal people where they just come in and they show all of this stuff for somebody who nobody knows. You know, everybody knew him. So they did all this build for him to come and then lose in however many seconds he lost in. And so if he's like, okay, I'm going to do it again, and they were like, well, we put all this stuff into him the first time. If he does it again and loses, then it's like, okay, you know, we're done. You know, you're just not a fighter. You know, his first match he lost. Yeah, he lost it, but you know, you can say that was his first time. He was trying. At least he did it. You know, I got to give him respect for him trying it. And if he loses again, then it's like, okay, well, you know, you just can't fight. You're just not good. This isn't for you. Just quit. And especially, you know, right after Dana White, after the first match, he was on air saying, you know, yeah, he should do something else. He shouldn't fight again. So when the owner of the company is basically saying you shouldn't fight again after your first loss, you know, what kind of boost you got if you lose again? He already said the first time you should have stopped, then you lose again.
Well,
yeah. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
You know, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but you know, in this situation, I don't look at CM Punk the same way as I looked at, you know, guys like, you know, Bobby Lashley or Batista when they went to the MMA. And, you know, it's just like, CM Punk doesn't look like the guy who's a fighter, so to speak. Like, he doesn't look like Brock Lesnar. You know, say what you will about him, about his wrestling and, you know, his sloppiness, you know, that he goes in the lazy, you know, ring psychology that he has now. Brock Lesnar set the tone for WWE guys going to UFC. I mean, and don't get me wrong, he's a freak of nature, but he went in and dominated the top competitors that have been doing this for years. And he went in and dominated these guys pretty much when he first started. And then you got CM Punk, who I don't want to say protected because it's not a wrestling, company, but it almost seems like, all right, we're, to go from seeing somebody defeat some of the top guys in the class in their debut to watching CM Punk go against other newcomers, it just doesn't make CM Punk legit for me. So I'm definitely on the train to say this is a must win as well. Just because, all of the stuff you mentioned before, you've got to legitimize CM Punk. He's banking a lot off of his name right now. But if he's going to stay in UFC for a while or be legitimate, he's going to have to get some W's under his belt. And I don't care if you got him going out there and, fighting newcomers all the time. The better his record looks, the better his draw is, and the bigger his name becomes. So we can't have a 0-3, 0-2, 0-4 CM Punk go out there and expect for him to still draw and draw after this. After a while, I would say if he does another fight and he loses all 3 fights, then it's just you're pitiful now. Like, I don't even want to see you in the ring. Like, just stop. Like you said earlier, just quit, do something else. Maybe he could try baseball. He looks like he's in pretty good shape to play baseball. Maybe he can play for the, Chicago farm team, whoever the Cubs farm team is. But he's got to win this fight. And Lady T, after that, I'll let you go ahead and, speak your piece since I, kind of butt in before.
Oh, I was just going to say, if the president of the company is not backing you in any way, shape, or form, in which Dana White has been adamant about backing Brock, you got some issues there. So just in that alone already speaks volumes about, like, hey, I'm all in on Brock. This guy, CM Punk, he should go back to the squared circle and not in the octagon. So just that alone to me seems like, okay, he's got to win this. It's got to be a W in this column, or else it's going to be like a one and done. If this is your one more shot, your one last chance, you either do or you don't, because if you're in any other sport, they're going to cut you. So I feel like if he doesn't win here, he's going to get cut. He's going to get dropped. It's going to really tarnish what possible legacy that he may have been able to achieve. It's going to look really, really bad, especially on us wrestling fans. It's going to look bad. And people are going to once again say, like, oh, well, wrestling is fake, like Mr. VIP said earlier. But it's really, really just going to make WWE look bad. I don't care on whose level or what, but it's just going to make us look bad. And I don't want them to look bad just because of the fact that CM Punk ran his mouth, got shut up twice, and made a lot of more people upset. But then again, from a wrestling fan standpoint, maybe the 0-2 would be a great thing to be like, okay, well, I gave it my best. Come on back. We'll embrace you again with open arms, and you can still be a top draw here, even though things didn't pan out for you in your other ventures. So either way it goes, it could be a huge win for us, even if he does lose. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So on that note, just on the live feed that we got going on right now, a commenter who remains anonymous informed us, stated that CM Punk is only scrutinized because he left the WWE on top. Brock was never a great wrestler or performer. He was a fighter. Punk is a great performer, but he hasn't crossed over as effectively, in my opinion. So buy or sell that comment. Do you think that CM Punk is only scrutinized because he left WWE at the top of his game? Or do we agree to the comment that Brock was never a great wrestler or performer? I'm definitely not agreeing on the Brock comment. Early 2000s Brock was a completely different animal than anybody had ever seen for somebody to be his size.
I was about to say the early Brock, he was a great performer. when he came back, yeah, he got lazy. Yeah, he started doing the one move and the F5. But the early Brock, when he was doing the spinning power bomb, the repeat back break, rib breakers, all the stuff he used to do. I mean, he even tried to do the shooting star press when he used to do it in OVW and stuff. He could do it. So yeah, he was a great performer before. When he came back, of course, now he's a UFC fighter, so he's now more of just a fighter type character. He's not a wrestler. And so yeah, and then he's part time, so he only wants to do it when he wants to. And we got to the single move suplex city crap. But before that, he was a great performer. The CM Punk thing, it would, no matter what, if he would have left on top, if he would have left at the bottom, if you're a WWE wrestler, you're going to be scrutinized just because, you were a pro wrestler, then you go to MMA. And the thing that made it worse is he went to UFC. Bobby Lashley and Batista went to, MMA, different companies, but they didn't go to UFC. So he's going to, the big boy. He's going to, like Brock did, you're going to the biggest company in mixed martial arts. So, you're going from the top pro wrestling company to now going to the top MMA company. So he's scrutinized because, just like they said with Brock, he was brung in, a whole lot of fanfare, a whole lot of big to-do for his first fight. We don't even know if he can fight or not, and we got all of this fanfare getting ready for him. So I think that is, but yeah, Brock was a great performer. He just doesn't want to do it like he used to.
For sure. Well, I mean, it's just, to me, I hate to say it for CM Punk fans. Like I said, I don't really like a lot of his fans. I don't hate CM Punk. But I think that CM Punk is a very big contradictor when it comes to, a whole lot of things. And I think that for people who don't like CM Punk, once again, I'm not one of those people. I think that that's what kind of rubbed them the wrong way. So there are a lot of people who are probably watching this fight or going to watch this fight ready to talk shit to CM Punk after he loses, ready to jump on the online forums, ready to say this, that, and the third about Phil Brooks and blah, blah, blah. But, at the end of the day, I really want him to go out there and be successful. And if he is, I mean, that fits the whole CM Punk narrative that he had in WWE. CM Punk is always the guy who, everybody counted out. He's the underdog. He's the guy that got almost fired multiple times. He's the guy that always gets overlooked. He's the outcast. He's the voice of the voiceless. So, I mean, I think that, maybe one or two losses under his belt in the beginning may goes on more to actually feed into his career. But I think that in this specific match, just riding on his wave right now in UFC, I think that he needs to win this match. And as Stone Cold Steve Austin would say, that's all I got to say about that. Moving right along, going back to wrestling, going back to WWE. You guys last week on the podcast did an amazing job covering the Money in the Bank. Shout out to both you guys. A lot of great insight. We're going to spend a little more time on that one. Currently, we have 7 matches scheduled for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. For the non-Money in the Bank matches, we got Carmella versus Asuka. Carmella versus Charlotte wasn't that great, so I don't know what expectations to have about that one. We got the Bludgeon Brothers versus the Good Brothers, the boys, the Bullet Club. This match is actually one I actually really want to see. I'm not going to lie. That's one I really want to see. We also got Roman Reigns versus Jinder, another match that I really want to see. Of course, Nia versus Ronda. That match could go either way. If Ronda shows up like she did at WrestleMania, she may be able to work a good match out of this one. But Nia Jax doesn't really perform well as someone who is as green as she is right now. So she's a dominant person. So for them to sell that back and forth for me is really what's going to have to really put that match over the top. AJ and Shinsuke Nakamura WWE title match again, just stipulated this week. Shinsuke Nakamura chose a last man standing match for the stipulation for this one. So out of those 5 non-Money in the Bank ladder matches, what are the ones that you guys are most wanting to see?
Well, for me, the one that I'm most looking forward to is, I've got to do it. I'm sorry, it's going to come week after week. My love for Mr. Roman Reigns. Yes, Roman and Jinder. Now, putting that aside, because I am hashtag swerves and curves, I'm really looking forward to see how great of a heel Jinder is going to be in this feud. I think that this is exactly the push in the right direction. This is what I have been saying for weeks now, that if you want to try to turn Roman into a top face, you got to give him a great heel that people legitimately boo. Jinder Mahal fits the bill 110%. People hate Jinder because why? I have yet to figure it out, because he worked hard. He got himself in a great physical condition. I mean, look at the guy. The guy is stacked. I mean, he did not leave WWE looking that way. He left in a smaller form of himself. And now look at him. He's massive. He has a great whiny heel character. He cheats perfectly. He's got I can't remember if it's Sunil or Samir who's still with him right now. I don't know what happened to the other Singh brother. Maybe he'll make a return in this match as well. So we don't know. But this match screams like, okay, this is going to be the last shot. Let's try to get Roman over with this. Let's try to see if this feud could really, really work to the advantage of both superstars intended. So that's why I'm mostly looking forward to this match between the two of them.
I don't know which one I'm most excited for, because this is going to be a good card. I'm hoping that the AJ and Nakamura match will be what everybody's been waiting on, and finally be the dream match that everybody's been coming for, or all excited about. Roman and Jinder. I hope, as long as they don't make Jinder look weak and like Roman just completely destroys him, I'm really excited about that. Anybody knows me knows I love Jinder Mahal. I've liked him ever since I first saw him, and I really was happy when he won the title. But I was worried when he lost that, they'll start jobbing him out. And, when he went to Raw, I'm like, please don't just all of a sudden make him a jobber. And I said before, me and Lady T had said, the perfect person for Roman is Jinder. And for them to start this feud, I'm like, this is great. This will benefit both of them. Everybody hates Jinder, everybody hates Roman, but if they can make people hate Jinder more than Roman, that's amazing. And even if they boo both of them, but it's an incredible match, and both of them get to show what they can do. Maybe legitimizing Jinder a little more, since everybody thinks he can't wrestle or whatever. I think it'll really do well to showcase both of them, like it did with Roman and Braun. Show both of them off, and this could be just the thing to keep Jinder as one of the top heels in the company. So yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Okay. For me personally, I got two matches that I really want to see. And I kind of, when I was running down the list, I kind of really already said which two there was, but definitely the Roman Reigns versus Jinder I want to see. Just because, like you said, the biggest thing that's most important to me about this match is not even Roman Reigns. It's more so to keep the legitimacy of Jinder Mahal as a major heel alive. Everybody says that, they only put a title on him last year, to get the money from India. Isn't that what you do to everybody? What did they do to Shinsuke Nakamura when he first came to the roster? They built the whole pay-per-view around him on his debut pay-per-view. He opened the show up, and everything was about Shinsuke. So, I mean, we can't just single out one foreigner because you don't like him and say that WWE is only pushing him because of where he's from, where they push everybody else. They push Irishmen in WWE. They push, Japanese wrestlers in WWE really hard. They push Hispanic wrestlers in WWE with El Idolo, with Alberto Del Rio, with Rey Mysterio, with Sin Cara when he first came. So, I didn't like that people always try to bring up they're just trying to get money from India, blah, blah, blah. Of course. Is that not what they do for everybody? What makes that? How is that argument making Jinder Mahal any less legitimate? But I think that also in this match, like you said, Mr. VIP, I think that the level of match that we get out of these two is really going to define both of them. Both of them are really hated. Both of them, a lot of people knock their in-ring work, especially for them to be big guys, but not to be super heavyweights. Everybody is always supremely critical of everything that they do. So if they go out there and they put on an amazing match, this might end up working 20 times over what they wanted out of this feud to start with. And if I'm WWE, that's the way that I want these guys to work this match. Go out there, put on a show, and show guys why you belong. Otherwise, the boos are not going to stop for Roman, and the boos are not going to stop for Jinder.
Another thing I wanted to bring up as well, when you were talking about how people in their hometown getting that pop with the whole Jinder in India, couldn't the same thing be said about WrestleMania in Orlando for Naomi? Because that was just after the Orlando nightclub shooting. She was very vocal about that, and she ended up winning for her second time, the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship at her hometown in Orlando at WrestleMania.
Well, hold on now, but people like her, so we can't say it against her. It only can be against people that everybody can't stand. I had listened to an interview of Jinder's, and he was saying, they asked him that question. What do you think about everybody saying about you only got the title because of the Indian market? And he was like, well, first of all, they've had the Indian market before I was ever signed. They've been had an Indian market. They had it before Great Khali. So he said, they may be making a new deal, but they've already had that market. So, it's not something that they were doing just because, for that deal. And, just like we said, it's the same thing with Naomi. It's the same thing, we got a lot of kids, so we'll have John Cena win because, he sells a lot of merchandise, so that's why he wins. There's always a reason for whoever the champ is. No matter who it is, there's always a reason why that person is the champ. And it's usually going to be money-wise. It's usually going to be whichever guy is selling the most merchandise, whichever guy is the most popular, whichever guy is going to get the most ticket sales. Whatever it is, that's who's going to be the number one guy. But it only affects people when it's somebody they don't like. they'll say, well, it's just because he was Indian. That's why he won. I like it because for the first time, for the company, even though it's changed, to be World Wrestling Entertainment, world. So that means that everybody should be represented. It shouldn't be just the same guys, same looking champions. It should be from different races, from different backgrounds, all kinds of different people winning the championships, and which they've done, especially in the past couple of years. They've moved forward, and really, they've never pushed a Japanese wrestlers like this in the company ever. You may have one Japanese wrestler, but they never pushed them. I mean, Nakamura was the main event, or main event at WrestleMania going for the title. Asuka had a huge match at WrestleMania for the title. That's two Japanese stars. You look at a year before or 2 years before, there wasn't any Japanese wrestlers on the entire roster. So that is, showing that they're moving forward. Now you have an Indian, and you're getting more Indian wrestlers. You're getting more people from Saudi Arabia. You're getting more different people. So they can, when they're going around, India can see, well, they have an Indian wrestler. They represent us. It's the same thing they did with Eddie Guerrero. We had the Mexican, and all the Mexicans loved him. They did it for that Mexican market. Same thing with Rey Mysterio. They do it so that they can make money with that market. If we want to get more Mexicans, we'll have Eddie win. Get more Mexicans, we want this person. If we want more of this people, so there's always a reason. But it's good to finally see difference. Finally seeing somebody different as a champion, other than just having for a while, Cena and Randy Orton back and forth. Cena, Randy Orton, Triple H back and forth for a long time, and it got boring and stale.
That's something that could also be used in an argument about having the same people going over and over and over again. Because of the fact it makes for a boring and stale if you just got the same guys running roughshod. But at that time in which it was basically just Cena, Orton, or Triple H having the title, who else was a major star during that time to carry the show? Which is what I'm saying right now about, like, with the whole Roman thing. Roman right now is at a great peak in selling merchandise. He is at a great peak just because of his look. I hate to bring it down to looks, but just because of his look. This guy, as you said last week when we were talking about this guy just looks the part. When you see wrestling and you see his face on the side of a bus, or you see his face on a flyer, and you see this guy, you instantly got attention.
Yes, but it goes the same way. The same way that you love Roman, you see him, same way Asuka. She's attractive. So when we see her, you automatically like, oh my gosh, she's fine. Oh, and she can wrestle? Same thing with Charlotte. You notice that none of the women are unattractive. They're attractive.
Hold up, I got to stop you right there, sir. Charlotte is not attractive. Charlotte, you can make that argument for any other female on the roster, but not Charlotte. Continue.
Okay, in your opinion, but universally, she's attractive. But she doesn't look like some of the other women, back in the day they used to have. But, the same way that they're attractive, that's the reason we like to see them wrestle. They're very attractive and they can wrestle. Same thing with Roman. Women like him and he can wrestle. No matter what everybody tries to say, he can't. Same thing they said about Cena for years, and you still watch his match and still, he's having 5-star matches, but he can't wrestle. So, I don't know, the whole feud with Roman and Braun, great matches. Him and AJ, great match. So you can't say he can't wrestle. Might not like him, but he's not the worst wrestler we've ever seen.
Facts. And like, Lady T was saying, I think that, for a lot of people to complain about Roman's spot, I think that a lot of people are just really OD for it. But if I had to choose personally for anybody to be the face of the company, when you say the face of the company, you automatically eliminate all of the heels because you can't be, WWE never has and they never will have a heel be the face of the franchise. Even in the days of Shawn Michaels being the best in the company, he wasn't the face of the franchise when he was a heel. Brett was the face of the company until he became a heel. Stone Cold was the face of the company after they changed him from being a heel and turned him over to a face. The same thing with The Rock. These guys, these were major players in the company. When they were the face of the company, when they were the end-all be-all, these were the biggest draws. They were the biggest faces. If I wanted to turn somebody on the roster right now, other than Roman Reigns, if you had to give me a choice, and I say this all the time, and I will continue to say this, Finn Balor has got to be the guy that you make the face of the company if you were really actively looking for somebody to be the face of the company. He's in his mid-30s, great shape, phenomenal shape. Kids love him, women love him, wrestling fans love him. No matter where he is on the roster, whether he's competing for championships or he's just in a run-of-the-mill match, there's a lot of heavy participation in his entrance. He sells a lot of his demon mask. We're selling like hotcakes. So the guy can do everything. He can sell merch and he can wrestle, and he's appealing. So this is the guy. If you weren't going to go to Roman, that's the only other guy on the roster that I can think of can say.
Well, hold on. I would also say Seth Rollins.
I would say Seth right now because he's hot, but Seth Rollins, when he first came back from his injury, was mid-card to lower mid-card until he went on this stretch, and he was almost like one of the forgotten guys on the roster. With Finn, I can't say the same thing because even when Finn wasn't the guy that was going for the IC title or the WWE title, he's still been a major player, no matter where he is on the roster.
Well, I can agree with the whole Seth thing. From once again, got to bring in the female perspective. I want to talk about the good-looking men and stuff because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to bring out the female insight of these things. If I were to look on the cover of a magazine and see Seth Rollins or see Finn Balor, I'm still going to pick up that magazine. I'm going to sit up there and I'm going to flip through it just because, oh my God, this guy's got a great body. Okay, yeah, exactly. And considering the fact that I already know who these men are, but so some of my girlfriends would definitely are like, okay, well, who's this guy? Oh, well, who's this guy? Oh, this guy. All these men are wrestlers. Really? Where can I sign up? Where can I see this guy? And that's what Randy Orton was doing for a long time, and he's still gorgeous, by the way. I just didn't want to discount the veteran there. But people, women especially, love to see a good-looking, built man. They don't have to be huge, like Braun per se, but just a good-looking man in general, shirtless, in the ring, does it enough for a lot of women. So, talking about marketing and things like that, the same can be said for the women. You have these gorgeous women of all races, all shades and colors. I mean, just gorgeous, gorgeous women in WWE. There's a couple that are not as gorgeous on certain levels as others. Like y'all were having that debate about Charlotte. I think Charlotte is beautiful. But then again, I also see the beauty in everybody. Some people don't like Ruby Riott. I think that Ruby Riott is beautiful because she's different. Extremely different. And that's another thing. That's a different conversation. This is a whole different subject that I'm starting to roll into a little bit. But going back to selling and going back to these matches that we're having right now, yes, I think that Finn could be a suitable face. Yes, face of the company. I mean, yes, Seth Rollins could be a suitable face of the company, but don't forget the face that runs the place with the soccer mom haircut and the luscious locks of AJ Styles, because he is a face of SmackDown until the Miz came. So there's some debate there too.
Absolutely. Moving right along to some of the other parts of the Money in the Bank. The Money in the Bank matches that are left. We mentioned a lot of these guys being the face of the company. I mentioned Finn. Finn is in the men's match. So currently where we stand right now in the men's match, we have Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, The Miz, Rusev, and Bobby Roode. The two spots that are left have yet to be determined. One spot we're waiting for New Day to name which one of the three of them are going to represent in the Money in the Bank match. For the second match, we are awaiting the winner of. I get goosebumps every time I think about this, because this is a qualifying match. I have to remind you, this is a qualifying match. Daniel Bryan versus Samoa Joe.
In Raleigh, by the way, in Raleigh, North Carolina. Yes, Raleigh, North Carolina.
I was going to mention that one later. I actually just for everybody who doesn't know, I think this is, multiple times I'm going to mention in the show, we are all from North Carolina. So SmackDown Live will be available. They will be here this Tuesday, May the 29th. I will be in attendance, as well as I will be taking my nephew to his first show. He's a huge SmackDown fan. He's been wanting to see the Usos forever, so I got him an Uso shirt to wear. Got pretty decent seats. We will be in attendance for all of those who are listening. If you catch me out there, dap me up, say what's up, grab a picture. I'll probably go online live on YouTube just to show a little bit out there. Flash a couple of pictures of my nephew, try to get him a couple of pictures as well. So, you guys catch me out there. It's all love. Come up, see me, talk to me, chop it up. But yes, Samoa Joe versus Daniel Bryan for a qualifying matchup. With the way that things are right now, who do you think are going to take those last two spots?
Wow. I had to give a pause there because I was trying to gather my thoughts, just wrapping my head around which one of these two I would rather see take this spot, because they both can do it for so many different reasons. Just the sheer presence of Samoa Joe being Money in the Bank, him just coming, strolling out there anytime that somebody's having a match, it's kind of like that intimidation of, oh shit, is it going to be now? Are my days numbered? Just having that lurk. I mean, because you never know when you're going to be put to sleep by a coquina clutch. And then on the other end, you got Daniel Bryan. Is Daniel Bryan, if he does win the Money in the Bank, is he going to do the same thing that Cena did? Or is he actually going to lurk? Is he going to call out a match like, hey, me and you next week? I hope he doesn't go that route. I hope it's all an element of surprise from Mr. Yes Man. So I really don't know how's it going to happen, especially considering the fact that you do have other people in this match that do have some sort of ways to sway this match. And I hope it doesn't end in any sort of disqualification or any crap like that. But if it does, then yes, I would love to get a part 2 to this match as well.
This one, last week I said Samoa Joe definitely. Now he's going against Daniel Bryan. Both of them winning would be amazing. Either way you go, if one of them wins in the qualifying and then wins the Money in the Bank, you could have Samoa Joe versus AJ dream match, or you could have AJ versus Daniel Bryan dream match, or you can have Samoa Joe and Nakamura one more time, or Nakamura and Daniel Bryan. Either way, if either one of the two win the Money in the Bank or win this qualifying and then win the Money in the Bank, I'm happy with it. I'm still gonna go with Samoa Joe. Like I said before, just the fact of if he wins, just the fact to see him stalking people. If Nakamura wins or if AJ wins, and just to see him come out there and just like, oh, I'm just gonna sit down right here, just to see him, stalking AJ or stalking Nakamura. It's just gonna be like, oh shoot, like you said, when is he gonna strike? When is he gonna, do it? He's gonna sit there and taunt him. He's gonna do all stuff and intimidate him. He's gonna say, cut great promos of saying you don't never know when or where or when I may strike. And that's just gonna build for a great feud. If Daniel won and then wins the Money in the Bank, like I said, he may just come out there and tell him, I want to fight you. Especially he's just coming back. His main thing is he just wants to wrestle. So, he could be like, if AJ won, I just want to see who's the best. Good guy versus good guy. And I mean, it'll be a great match, but you want one of them to be heel, and you don't want to turn AJ heel. You don't want to turn Daniel heel yet. So for right now, still, I want Samoa Joe to win this qualifying match.
One more little scenario that I wanted to throw out there. I'm sorry, but what about if Miz won the title? I mean, and what if Daniel Bryan won Money in the Bank? I mean, what about those? Because we would love to get a nice title feud to go ahead and add to the feud of the Daniel Bryan and Miz saga that we kind of gently grazed over ever since Miz has been back on SmackDown. It's been gently grazed over, trying to keep them apart, keep them separated. So, what if Miz was the one to take the title off of the current champion?
By winning the Money in the Bank?
No, just take the title off the current champion. If he doesn't win Money in the Bank. And Daniel Bryan won Money in the Bank.
Even if Miz won the title, I still don't think that Daniels was going to come out there and jump him for it. He was going to come out there and say, you've been talking a lot of junk for a long time when I couldn't do nothing. Now I can do something. I'm cashing it in. He's not going to, I don't think he's just going to run out there after he just had a match and attack him and then just win it. He's just, I don't think Daniel Bryan's going to use the Money in the Bank, the way that everybody usually uses it that makes it so exciting. I don't want somebody that's going to do like Cena does. I think it's better when a bad guy wins the Money in the Bank because, you can't wait for them to do it. You don't want them to do an honorable, I'm going to walk out here and I want this match with you right now. You want them to, somebody just had a long match. They just barely won. And then the music hits. You're like, oh, shoot. And then bam, Samoa Joe, bam, somebody runs out there and, I'm cashing it in. And you're like, oh, God, he's going to cash it in. I don't want them to be nice and nice with it. I want somebody to be a surprise out of nowhere and they come out and attack them.
What Seth did. When Seth made himself a part of the match by cashing in Money in the Bank in the middle of the match.
That was one of the best ways. I mean, everybody was all upset with them two being in the match, and then all of a sudden, Seth comes out there. He was the heel, but everybody loved it. But when his music hit, everybody's like, "Oh shit! I can't believe it! This is huge!" And seeing him run down that enormous long runway is just like, "Oh shoot! Oh shoot!" It was huge. Just that thing. Same way with Dolph. Every time a bad guy wins, it's just the way they do it. You're just so excited because you never know, when are they going to do it. You're just waiting. So every time, and what it builds anticipation because, they could have AJ or whoever wins the the world title, could just have a hard fought match, and you're just sitting there like waiting. Are they gonna come out now? Oh shoot, they just took took a big beating, or somebody jumps them. Oh shoot, are they gonna come out now? And you're just waiting. If that music hits and all of a sudden the music don't hit, you're like, oh man, that was the perfect time. They didn't come out this time. And then when you finally start forgetting or thinking that they're not going to come out, bam, the music hits, and that's when they come out. And you're like, oh, shoot. So it's, always a big surprise when it happens, when a heel wins.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't really care who wins this Money in the Bank. I'm so happy about this Money in the Bank that's not going to feature, a lot of the guys that normally are in it. So we have none of the members of the Shield are in the Money in the Bank. No John Cena. No Randy Orton. No Randy Orton. None of the guys that you're used to are seeing in this match are winning the match.
That matter.
Yeah, or Kane for that matter. So none of the guys you're used to seeing in this match are in it. So out of the 7 spots that they're going to be, even if Daniel Bryan was to get one of the spots in either of the New Day, no matter who the New Day goes in, only Miz and Daniel Bryan have both been WWE champion at any point in time. Finn Balor was a one-day reign at Universal champion, so I really don't even count his reign. So that means we have a 5 out of 7 chance that we have a Money in the Bank winner who could win their first world championship in WWE. So yes. if Braun was to win the Money in the Bank and he goes on to cash and win it, first time ever. If Finn wins the Money in the Bank, cashes it in on Brock or on AJ Styles, this would be his second world title win, the first time that he'll get an actual run. If Rusev Day wins, Rusev, first world championship, Bobby Roode, very over guy, if he wins, first WWE title chance. If any of the New Day win, whether it's Kofi, Big E, or Xavier Woods, none of them have ever won the World Heavyweight Championship or the WWE title or the Universal title. Samoa Joe, another one, never won a title in WWE. He has not won a title in WWE other than the NXT title. So this is opening the door up. I think this pay-per-view is opening the door up to the new generation. And that's really what's making me more excited than anything else about this pay-per-view.
One name that you did mention before we get off the subject or whatever, one name that you did mention for me would be excellent spot to make a full-on heel turn like I was thinking that was already going to happen, but it has not happened yet. Bobby Roode. The glorious thing is completely over. I mean, I love him going out there and being glorious. But when he was at NXT, he was doing more of the high price glorious. Like, he was the one who was handpicked to be out there. I think that this will be an excellent platform to have if he does win Money in the Bank, which I would love to see him do it. There's actually not too many names on this card that I would not like to see win this. Actually, there's nobody here that I would not like to see win. So, props to WWE on that one. Props there.
This is the first time in a long time I've seen a Money in the Bank where legitimately anybody who wins, I would love to see them win it.
That is very true.
Exactly.
And that's why I really like it, because, in the past, there's some, everybody's got one person or a couple people that they don't really want to win. And, when they start going for the title, everybody's like, oh, please God, don't let this person win. But this is going to be one of the first times that everybody's going to be happy. No matter who wins, everybody will be happy. And it'll be, it'll be something new. No matter who it is, it won't be somebody who can get a title shot no matter what. I mean, it ain't, Cena's not in it to say, he can get it whenever he wants it. Orton or somebody like that. So it's going to be really exciting to see it. And there's a lot of people who've never even been in Money in the Bank or a ladder match, so that's also really exciting to see, what happens. And, just the difference of which one of the New Day gets in, and then which one between Daniel and Samoa Joe is going to add, it's just going to keep adding to a match that's already going to be great. And it's just one of the matches which you can't wait to see it. I don't care who wins. I just want to see the match. Whoever wins, I'm happy with.
For sure, absolutely. And then on the last note, what I'll go ahead and finish off the Money in the Bank conversation with, and saving the best for last, more so the women's revolution. First of all, I just love that the women's revolution in the last couple of years has just taken in the spots that they have not been in the past. So this is the second annual Money in the Bank for women. There's only one spot left the last time I checked. And this is going to be the bigger Money in the Bank match, because I think we're going to end up with 8 women in this match. So currently we have Ember Moon, Charlotte, Alexa, Becky Lynch, Natty, Lana, and Naomi. Now, unlike the men's match, where I said that the majority of the men competing in their match have not been champion before, in the women's match, pretty much everybody that's participating in this Money in the Bank that have been announced so far, with the exception of Lana and Ember Moon, have been either SmackDown Live or Raw Women's Champion. And Ember Moon was the NXT Women's Champion. So really that leaves Lana as the only one who's never won a Women's Championship that's going to be in this match. Who do you think is going to be the last person they put in this spot?
Well, considering that they're going to run a gauntlet next week, and the gauntlet is going to feature all the Raw women who have had the opportunity but didn't get a chance to be in the match. You've got Sasha, you've got Bayley, you've got Ruby Riott, you've got Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan, and you also have Mickie James, as well as Dana Brooke. So, out of these women, for the remaining spots, wow. I would really, really, really personally want to see Ruby Riott be another person who has not done that, either Ruby Riott or Sarah Logan. Not so much Liv Morgan, but Ruby Riott or Sarah Logan for me, just because I don't want Sasha and Bayley to be in there again. But it would be cool. Not taking anything away from Bayley or Sasha, but both of them have already had title opportunities and they've been champion. I want somebody else besides Lana, who's never had a title, to be in this, to be involved in this. So those are my 2 picks.
Yeah,
I'm possibly fill the last spot.
I'm gonna agree on that one. Actually, mine is gonna definitely be a lot for Ruby Riott. I think it was 2 shows ago where I really talked about my adoration for Ruby Riott as a newcomer to WWE. She's very young. I think she has a bright future, and I think this will be a good match to showcase her talent. Even if she gets in this match and doesn't win, I definitely expect to see a couple of spots to be thrown her way if she gets in. But my prediction for the last spot is definitely going to be Ruby Riott.
Yeah, with everybody in it, I think the most exciting thing would be if Ruby wins. Just the fact that, to legitimize their group, if Ruby won, and then, they can keep the thing of all of them coming out there whenever she's going to try to cash it in on somebody, and then, she cashes it in, and then she's the women's champion, and you have a faction, with the women's champion. That's different. It hasn't really been done. You've had men that had, been in a faction, they've had other people watch their back, but for women, that would be something that you haven't seen. She has her own group. And I think it's, really needing to show that, show their force, show that they are dominant. I really, really like her, like you said, she's got a different look. She's unique, and it would just be a great thing to have her win it, and then somebody trying to go through the Riot Squad in order just to get the the chance to go for the title. And for her being the heel, it'd be perfect. Every time somebody may almost win, one of the other girls will grab their leg or something, and then she gets the win. So, and then it could be good, whoever wins between Ronda and Nia, they'll be like, okay, we can't beat her by herself, but all of us, can jump her. I mean, they could come out any time, jump Nia, and then say, okay, now I want I'm cashing it in. Instead of just waiting for after the match, they can just come out there and jump her and then cash in the title. So I would really hope she would win, and then, especially if it's a gauntlet, I mean, or Liv and Logan, are they going to go against their leader? Or are they just going to step aside if they even make it to fight her? So I'm really going for Ruby.
Not to mention the damage that the other girls can do. So say, like you were saying, I wanted to kind of continue on your point there. But like you were saying, in this gauntlet, so yeah, maybe she does enter as the sixth person in the gauntlet. So say Sarah and Liv have already been eliminated. What's to stop them from coming back out to help Ruby get in there? And then if Ruby Riott is the one who takes the spot in the match, what's to stop them from coming out in this no disqualification match to help hand her the title or the briefcase as well? So there's a lot that can be done here if Ruby Riott is the one who wins this gauntlet.
Yes. Because like I said, if she wins, I mean, it will legitimize their group more. Because at first, they were just, the second hand, I can't remember what Paige's group was, Absolution, whatever.
Absolution.
Yeah, they were just the second hand Absolution at first. Now Paige is hurt, so Absolution is gone. They're the only team, but there really hasn't been nothing to say that they're a force. That there's somebody you need to watch out for. So if she did win, or if they, even if they did the gauntlet and they hurt whoever her opponents were, even if they lost the match, but they hurt the person, say they lose, Sarah loses her match, but right after the match, she beats the heck out of Sasha to the point where when Ruby comes out, she can just run up there, hit her one time and pin her and go on and go ahead. She still did her job. So if you're going to have them as a group and, the whole Riot Squad, the whole gang mentality, you got to have them actually win something and do something instead of just three girls that are together but still aren't doing anything. And, they were already a second-rate group to Paige's group. So you got to do something to make them legit now.
Facts. That's definitely you got to make them legit. Ruby Riott is definitely one of the things I like about her too. She can talk, and that's another thing you don't see a lot of women wrestlers, especially green women wrestlers or ones that are first starting. I'm not even gonna call her green because she's got experience. She's just young, but you don't see a lot of people come in and really handle themselves in the mic like she does as well. So that's another one of the things that I say that she has star written all over her. As a matter of fact, I'll go as far as to say she could probably be better than Paige at some point in time.
Well, since Paige didn't get to, wrestle in WWE for that long, then yeah. But she's gonna, be the always, because she looks, has kind of the same look, kind of the same thing. But yeah, I do think as long as she doesn't get hurt enough, and she could be bigger than Paige, and that's good. I mean, for her, for wrestling fans, we lost Paige, but if we gain another superstar, if she can get the fans behind her, booing or cheering like Paige did, that's great for women's wrestling. You lost a major person because everybody, was huge Paige fans. If she can garner the fans that Paige had, and now they start, getting behind her, and that would be amazing for her.
Another thing I can definitely say on this, because we didn't really talk about this, and I'm sorry I don't want to kind of switch people here, but I agree with everything about Ruby Riott that was said. But let's talk about Lana for a second. How about Lana actually winning her first singles match to qualify for Money in the Bank? That in itself was huge. I mean, yeah, it was a little help there, but still, for her to even win the opportunity to be in the match. And I know Lana has been working hard and she's been training, and she caught a lot of flack because of some of the things that she said on Twitter and things like that. But I like Lana actually getting the opportunity to be more than just a valet for Rusev or valet for Tamina, or just being the extra person there to kind of pick on. I like the fact that she actually got out there. Yeah, the match was very, very brief against Billie Kay, but just Lana alone getting her first singles win on the main roster is great for her.
Yeah. I love the whole, it's like you want her to win. You okay, she's not the greatest, but you want her to win. I saw her, the match she won in the Mixed Match Challenge, and you just when she won, you just all happy with her. You're like, yeah, she did it. She finally won a match. And the same thing with, on SmackDown when she won, you just oh my God, she won, and you get really excited. Oh my God, she really did it. She really did it. Of course, I don't want her to win the Money in the Bank, but just to see her qualify, just to see her win matches and how excited she is, and that whole character, I really like that. But I don't want to see her go one-on-one with Charlotte or Asuka, anybody. But just for her to win, little matches like this, or quick matches, and and she's getting the crowd behind her too. With the whole Lana's number one thing, shows that they can get over, even if they're not supposed to. I mean, she's getting a lot of people are starting to like her now too, and are really happy when she wins, instead of just oh, she's just some girl that can't wrestle. Who cares?
Yeah, so I mean, I can get with a little. I can get with a little bit of it, but I'm not really huge on Lana. I really am happy, like you said, that they want to do more things to her other than just her be a valet. But at the end of the day, it's nothing really about her wrestling that excites me. The character is okay. The Lana's number one. All of that is good and whatnot. But I really don't care to see her in the ring at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I guess it's just a fun character. It's just a happy-go-lucky. You really don't think she's gonna win stuff. So, but when she wins, you're like, oh yay, good for her. Not. I don't want to see, like I said, I don't want to see her go against anybody besides, some little thing like this, and she just wins, by by somebody distracting the girl or whatever, and she just gets this big win, and she's just overjoyed. But again, that's only going to last for a little bit, and then people are going to get tired of it or not really care. But at least for now, it's, you know, I can see a spot in the Money in the Bank where, you know, everybody's knocked out. She's just standing on the side. Everybody's knocked out, and then she goes to start climbing, and then like everybody's just going crazy, like, oh my God, and she's just like looking at the crowd, smiling, climbing up, and then somebody knocks her off, and then you're like, oh, so close, and then she don't ever get back up there again. But
boy, if she climbed the ladder and ain't nobody up there, they gonna boo her out of that bed. The first step she take on the ladder, boo, boo. They gonna boo her out of that building. Now that will be funny. From a trolling aspect, that'll be funny to me. But they're not gonna cheer for her to climb up that match.
Look, I'm telling you. Aiden English is going to be out there. As soon as she's going to start climbing, he's going to say Lana's number one. He's going to start the chant. Everybody's going to cheer for her when she's climbing up there.
I agree with what Dante, Mr. VIP, said. So, yeah, I mean, they're going to go along with the whole Lana is the best, Lana number one, or the Lana Day. I mean, even, I know she's not going to win. I just love the fact that she got a chance to qualify. Just that alone was great for her. And that's why I was wanting to take the time to kind of celebrate that, just because of the fact it's like, hey, huh?
Even though she won it against Billie Kay, I didn't like that part.
No, because the Iconics are just like super annoying and they're over only because they're cute. So,
they can wrestle and they are iconic.
I'm not saying anything bad on the Iconics. I'm not trying to knock the Iconics, but I'm just think that it was a good thing to let her actually, you know, get the opportunity. Because nobody thought, when you heard this match announced last week, nobody thought that Lana was going to win. Did you think that Lana was going to win that match? Honestly.
Of course not.
Exactly.
Oh,
so
no,
just because of the fact that she did win, even if it was through a distraction, even if the match only lasted about 27 seconds or so, I'm not sure on the time, but that's how long it felt.
She needs to only have little quick matches. We don't want to show how much she can wrestle.
Exactly. But still, all I'm saying is just the fact that she qualified. She's not going to win it. We all know this. And if she does, that'd be the biggest FU to the whole women's revolution. No offense, but it would be.
You mean bigger than James Ellsworth?
We're not talking about Chinless Nakamura there, but sorry, Shinsuke Nakamura. That's what we called him, Shinsuke.
Yeah.
But it'd still be a big slap in the face on that for all these women. And I'm not trying to knock Lana on that aspect of it, but we're just out of all the people who have qualified to be in this match, and Lana's chances are they're technically 1 in 8, but they're 1 in a million, really, out of the quality of people, unless some god-awful random thing happens to make her do that. I really don't see her winning this, period. But I did want to talk about one more thing before we completely end this whole thing again. The qualifying match for Naomi versus Sonya Deville. Oh, them splits, though. Wow. Naomi is so athletic. I love Naomi. I love Naomi to death. I'm feeling the glow, definitely. And that match, to me, was great. I thought it was almost a main event match because of how good Sonya Deville matched up against Naomi. That was a very entertaining match to me. That was probably one of the most entertaining qualifying matches on the women's side that wasn't a triple threat.
I'm going to have to disagree. I didn't like that Naomi won. I actually wanted Deville to win. Because it just added another person like you said before, who's already won the title, who's already done a lot of stuff, and I wanted somebody new to be in it. And DeVille just, I always liked her. I love her look. I love her character. There's always something about her that's just like, oh man, I just can't wait to see them do more with her. And I would really love for her to have won that match, to go on to the Money in the Bank. I'm not saying I don't like Naomi, but it's just too many people that's been in the match that already have won the title multiple times, for you to, not have, like Ruby Riott or DeVille or any of the new people who, have never had the chance or never, fought for it yet.
Oh, by the way, we just totally skipped Dana Brooke and the new people who never had the chance or anything like that. We totally skipped over Dana Brooke being in that.
We can go on to the next subject.
Well, I mentioned Dana Brooke earlier in the show before everything else.
I
meant to say something about Dana White.
There's always a reason. There's a reason you forgot about her.
I know, but I'm just saying
that you don't need to forget her.
Let her go back. Let her go back to Titus Worldwide. they doing that. That's good.
But going back to the whole, like I said, Sonya Deville and Naomi match, I think that Naomi has set a lot of firsts there. So, I mean, I'm down for Naomi being the first black woman to be Miss Money in the Bank. She was the first woman ever to win the inaugural WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal. She is the first ever black SmackDown Women's Champion. And I'm not saying it just because she's black. I'm just saying mainly because of the fact that it's still a first. And I like the fact that they are using her for the first. I'm not trying to bring this as a race thing again. I'm not trying to go there, but just first is what I'm going for. So I would love to see Naomi win, but as much as I love Naomi, the one person I don't want to see win, on the other hand, is Alexa Bliss. I do not want to see Alexa Bliss getting Money in the Bank.
Whoa! Hold on now. You can't say nothing about Bliss.
I'm not saying anything bad about her. I just said I don't want her to win.
She was this champion for like 3 years. It felt like I don't want to see
that. That's because she deserved it. She is. I mean, she's blissful, if you will. The only person I don't want to see win that is Charlotte. She doesn't deserve. She don't need it to go for the title. So, I mean,
that's the queen.
Yeah, but the queen doesn't need. The queen doesn't need the Money in the Bank to go for the title. So it needs to be somebody who normally may not get a chance. Charlotte's always going to get a chance. She got 20 chances when she was on Raw. She's getting chances now.
Alexa isn't? So Alexa doesn't get chance after chance after chance after chance?
She just
the argument you're making right now for Alexa is the same thing that it said for Charlotte. So, no, neither one of them.
For a long time. She just didn't lose it.
Sorry, having a little bit of feedback there on your end. But yeah, the same thing that you said about Alexa Bliss there and the same thing you said about Charlotte. Neither one of them two really need this opportunity. Becky definitely could use this opportunity. But Naomi, again, could use this opportunity. But
Becky more than...
Becky more than most.
Yeah, if none of the new people, Becky needs it because Becky hasn't done anything the whole year. And I mean, she's really just been forgotten for a while. She definitely needs something. And it would be great if she even did a heel turn. Like she won the thing and then turned on, the champion to get it. I would love that, but they just need to do something with her because she's really been forgotten, not used and abused for a while.
Yeah, Becky's been underused for a long time. And I think that, I always kind of throw her in the category when I talk about the four horsewomen, and I say, I don't really want to see another four horsewoman win the title. I want to see other people get it. Becky was the one who got pretty much like one shot and never got any other opportunity. It seems like. I can't even say the same thing for Bayley or Sasha, because Bayley or Sasha are heavily featured, every week with or without the title. Without the title, Becky Lynch is not being featured on SmackDown as one of their top people. Like, for the life of me, why we never got Becky Lynch one-on-one with Sasha. I mean, not with Sasha, one-on-one with Charlotte while Charlotte was in Women's Champion still baffles me. And maybe they'll do it. Yeah, maybe they'll do it later on down the line, but to have them both on the same show and not have them go one-on-one for the title at any major pay-per-view, that was dropping the ball.
I mean, but really, they haven't had her with any of the other horsewomen, because pretty much when they did the brand split, all of the three other ones were on Raw, and then she was on SmackDown, and she really hasn't had anything. I mean, has she even had a feud with anybody? I think, she was hurt and then came back.
Natalya. She feuded with Natalya.
Yeah. I just want her to feud with somebody else. Like you said, Charlotte would be perfect. Why haven't she, feuded with her yet? Because they really didn't feud in NXT. I think they had that one match, the Fatal 4-Way, but they really didn't even feud against each other there. So it's so much that they can do with her. He said, if they turn her bad just because she's been a good girl for so long and haven't used her, really, a lot of times you forget she's even there. You're like, oh, she comes down. You're like, I forgot about her. With them, trying to.
I'm sorry. It just dawned on me. I had to put the series there between Becky and Asuka. Swerves and curves coming at you right now. That is my exclusive. That's going to be the winner of your Money in the Bank. It's going to be Becky Lynch, and she's going to turn on Asuka, and she's going to run through the women's division with Asuka right now. Count.
Ooh. Asuka and Becky. Wow, that would be amazing. That would be really, really, that would be good. I would love to see that. That would bring more legitimacy to her again. People would be like, you forgot, who the heck I am. Let me remind you. And anybody doing anything to Asuka, if they hurt her or, attacked her, anything like that, is a boost to them. So that is amazing. Now that would be something I would definitely like to see they do with Becky.
Absolutely. Well, either way that they go, the pay-per-view itself looks like it's shaping up to be an amazing pay-per-view. I can't wait to watch it. We'll see how some things develop over the next couple of weeks. We'll definitely keep revisiting the Money in the Bank to see what opportunities and options are going to be made. Of course, we got our prediction show coming up the week before Money in the Bank, so we'll definitely touch on that again as well. On that one, we're going to go ahead and move along to our final thoughts. Mr. VIP, go ahead and end us with a final thought that you want to let us rest on.
I'm just ready to see what happens with the Money in the Bank. With the men's, I'm just excited to see whoever wins. With the women's, I'm just hoping for somebody new to win. With the Nakamura, can't wait to see that match. Roman, can't wait to see that match. And which you didn't really talk about as much, but the Ronda and Nia match. Can't wait to see what happens. I mean, that's to see how it turns out is going to be really exciting. And then months from now, the All In. I'm hoping that they put on a show that will garner them or be able to, do another next year. And show that, yeah, we can do it. We did it, and we'll do it again. So I'm just really excited on the weeks to come, months to come, to see what's going to happen in the world of wrestling.
All right, Lady T, what you got to end on?
Well, for me, I've done a lot of thinking about like what could possibly play out here with this whole pay-per-view upcoming Money in the Bank. And so I kind of want to switch to talking about just like on the weekly episodic thing. For those of you who did not know or have not heard the breaking news, SmackDown Live, as of October of next year, 2019, has signed a $1 billion deal. Billion with a B, not million with an M, but $1 billion deal with Fox. Now, I'm wondering if we are going to get this on the regular local broadcast channel of Fox, or if we're going to get this on an FS1 or one of the other shows or one of the other stations that Fox does carry. Personally, I think that it would be a great move to put this on the regular local broadcast Fox, so that way more people can actually enjoy this, besides people who don't have cable or don't subscribe to a streaming service where you can get those channels. But this will be available to reach a lot more people on a regular local station. And I think that with them being able to get this deal, this was going to push, I read an article earlier and said that this could possibly push SmackDown to be the A show versus Raw. I don't know how well that's actually going to play out. I just know that the creative team, they're going to be working really, really hard to make sure that SmackDown remains a great show. And if they do move it to 3 hours, like rumors have been said right now, I don't know the ins and outs and all the final details. But with this going to Fox, a 3-hour show as well, SmackDown better become great. SmackDown has been great. It's been underrated. A lot of people have been complaining about the fact that SmackDown is not 3 hours. I know I've complained about the fact that why is Raw 3 hours and SmackDown only 2? If you count 205 Live, that can actually help fill out the extra hour if they go ahead and make that a part of the regular SmackDown show. So, I don't know. We'll just have to see what the next year is going to hold for SmackDown. And that right there is my final thought.
All right. Well, on that note, the way I like to end the show, once again, I'm going to put some spotlight on CM Punk. I really don't really put a lot of spotlight on CM Punk when I talk wrestling. But I do want to make it very known that CM Punk is definitely one. I will give him one of the top 15 to 20 greatest stars of all time. He's definitely a huge draw. I'm glad that he's still able to go out there and make money like he's been doing outside of WWE. And I definitely am hoping for a big win for him at the upcoming UFC 225 event. Other than that, once again, as mentioned earlier in the show, SmackDown Live will be in Raleigh at the PNC Arena this Tuesday night. I will be in attendance. This will be my first SmackDown Live that I've seen, and this is also going to be my first show for my nephew. So it's going to be definitely a spectacle to see. Once again, if you guys are listening, if you're in the area, if you're going to be at the show, definitely hit me up. We can try to link up, take a picture, chop it up, talk about future, maybe wanting to be on the show. If you want to, just let me know. But other than that, great show. Loved having you on the show today. This week, Mr. VIP. Love to have you again in another episode. Great show again as always, Lady T. And of course, this is good J Ready, marking out amongst friends out.
I can feel it. Kick back, let the dough rise. It's a feeling. It's going down like a blowjob. I need a million. Feed the fam and the whole squad. No ceilings. I'ma kill them at your throat like a bow tie. Huh? I can feel it. Kick back, let the dough rise. It's a feeling. It's going down like a blowjob. I need a million. Feed the fam and the whole squad. No ceilings. I'ma kill them at your throat like a bow tie. I just wanna wake up every morning getting paid. I just need a couple $1,000 every day. I just need an answer back for everything I prayed for. I just need a profit off of everything I paid for. I just wanna wake up every morning getting paid. I just need a couple $1,000 every day. I just need an answer back for everything I prayed for. I just need a profit off of everything I paid for. I can feel it. Kick back, let the dough rise. It's a feeling. It's going down like a blowjob. I need a million. Feed the fam and the whole squad. No ceilings. I'ma kill them at your throat like a bow tie. Huh? I can feel it. Kick back, let the dough rise. It's a feeling. It's going down like a blowjob. I need a million. Feed the fam and the whole squad. No ceilings. I'ma kill them at your throat like a bow tie. I just wanna wake up every morning getting paid. I just need a couple $1,000 every day. I just need an answer back for everything I prayed for. I just need a profit off of everything I paid for. I just wanna wake up every morning getting paid. I just need a couple $1,000 every day. I just need an answer back for everything I prayed for. I just need a profit off of everything I paid for. I just wanna wake up every morning getting paid. I just need a couple $1,000 every day. I just need an answer back for everything I prayed for. I just need a profit off of everything I paid for. When you're too young to kill, but you're too old to not. When the shoe on the air, when the shoe on the spot. When you're too young to kill, but you're too old to not. When the shoe on the air, when the shoe on the spot. Wake up every morning getting paid. I just need a couple $1,000 every day. I just need an answer back for everything I prayed for. I just need a profit off of everything I paid for. I just wanna wake up every morning getting paid. I just need a couple $1,000 every day. I just need an answer back for everything I prayed for. I just need a profit off of everything I paid for. I just wanna wake up every morning getting paid. I just need a couple $1,000 every day. I just need an answer back for everything I prayed for. I just need a profit off of everything I paid for. Yeah. When you're too young to kill, but you're too old to not. When you're too on the air, and the shoe on the spot. When you're too young to kill, but you're too old to not. When the shoe on the air, and the shoe on the spot. When you're too young to kill, but you're too old to not. When you're too on the air, and the shoe on the spot. When you're too young to kill, but you're too old to not. When the shoe on the air.